Welcome to Spiritual Psychic with Sarah Wiseman, where you'll learn how to unlock the secrets of spiritual intuition and your own psychic gifts. Here's Sarah.
Welcome to Spiritual Psychic. I'm Sarah Wiseman. Today we're talking about why do some people have easier soul lessons? Why are some people born into, wealth or comfort, and they're beautiful and they have beautiful bodies and they're smart and they just seem to have everything handed to them from the beginning? And then other people really struggle. They're born into poverty, or they're born into cultures where they're not going to have a lot of opportunity. Maybe they don't have health. Maybe they don't get education. Maybe they're ill. Why is this discrepancy here? And so in the book, Messages from the Divine, the idea is you choose your curriculum. So how could this be? Why would we as souls want to choose a tougher curriculum? Why wouldn't we take the easy path? And the thing is, some lifetimes we do. Some lifetimes we decide, you know what? I had a really rough lifetime and I'm going to take a break. But more often or not, we decide what we want to experience based on how fast we want to get to consciousness. Now, I know a lot of you guys out there, because I've worked with a lot of you, have struggled with, say, abuse or neglect in childhood. Now, one of the things that happens, and this is tragic, but it also is true, that people who have suffered abuse and neglect in childhood tend to learn how to disassociate very quickly. Again, we usually look at this as a negative or a problem. But what disassociation teaches you immediately is how to move into another dimension or another space. And so I find when I work with a lot of you who've had this past trauma, is that you're amazing meditators and you have astounding ability to connect with the guides, and your psychic abilities are off the charts. And this is because you've been practicing that disassociation, lifting out of earth reality and going somewhere else to another, so-called house in the dimension, another spot, area, dimensional reality. You know how to do this. You've been practicing since you were a kid. So this idea that that person, perhaps, say a person who was abused, learned how to disassociate, became an incredibly gifted psychic or healer or spiritually aware person. That past challenge created the opening for the consciousness, the conscious understanding that person had. Whereas a person who maybe, had helicopter parents and every kind of education and comfort, maybe didn't have to expand themselves as well, because the earth reality was so pleasant. They didn't have to look further. They didn't have to disassociate. They were just right here in the dream of this world, of this life, and they didn't get around to their soul lessons until they were much, much older. Now, everybody's going to get these soul lessons. Everybody's going to get these soul lessons. It's just a matter of how early we become conscious. And of course, if we do become conscious earlier, there's two parts to this. One, it's amazing because we're conscious. The other part is it's kind of lonely. It's kind of lonely because, as you guys know, those of you who have opened up, who've had these spiritual awakenings, you become more of a minority in the world. And that's why we're doing these podcasts, because we want to support want to support people who feel alone and who feel like there's no others like them. Well, there are. There are. This idea, the book says, we choose. In some lifetimes, consciousness may arrive early and carry you like a bright beacon. In other lifetimes, consciousness may be only the faintest flicker. It may not arrive to you until your last moments before death. And here it's very clear in the book. Whatever curriculum you chose this time, none is better than the other. Whatever curriculum you chose this time, none is better than the other. So what would it be like to just drop out this idea of being jealous for one person's situation or thinking it's unfair, and just realizing your soul, in its marvelous desire to learn as much as possible, chose this particular place. This particular place you found yourself is the best for you. All the lessons you need are going to be here. It's a very different way of looking at things. Anyway, you can read more about this. That's lesson 4 from Messages from the Divine. You can find it on Amazon or go to my website. I'm Sarah Wiseman, and you'll find me at sarahwiseman.com.